Welcome, and thank you for selecting this session on Look, Think, Act, Unlocking the Power of Data to Address Equity. I'm Cindy Weigel, a Senior Technical Assistance Specialist with the Center for IDEA Early Childhood Data Systems, also fondly referred to as DaSy. I was joined by two of my colleagues to prepare this presentation for you, Lisa Backer and Thomas McGhee, also with DaSy. During the next 30 minutes, we want to introduce you to a new online module that was created by DaSy called Look, Think, Act, Using Data for Program Improvement. And this is available at no cost to you through the DaSy website. We will share critical equity questions to understand and address equity in your early intervention and early childhood special education programs. And we will help you identify where to find strategies to build a supportive environment for using the Look, Think, Act process within your state and local level programs. Many, if not all of you, have invested a lot of time and energy in collecting and reporting data that's required by the federal government, your state, administrators, or other stakeholders. And Look, Think, Act can help you and your programs realize a greater return on that data investment you've already made. Whether you are experienced or a novice data user, Look, Think, Act provides a valuable structure for examining, reflecting, and acting on your data. It will help you and your team and stakeholders build confidence and excitement about using data. Look, Think, Act is as simple as it sounds, and it's probably a process that you use every single day. Have you ever stopped to read a nutrition label in the grocery store and reluctantly put the item back on the shelf? You used Look, Think, Act. You looked at the label, you attached meaning to what you saw, and you acted. And so to learn more about Look, Think, Act, I am going to transition to the online module. DaSy's learning module will support you to embed the Look, Think, Act process into your program, bringing you one step closer towards strengthening your data infrastructure and creating a successful culture of data use where staff and stakeholders across your programs value and routinely use data for program improvement. And to get started, we will watch a short introduction video to Look, Think, Act. And then following the video, I will navigate through the module and stop to address specific information related to the topic of equity in your programs where it's appropriate to do that. And you can see the link at the top of the screen. You are welcome to type that link information into your browser and follow along, or simply sit back, relax, and enjoy the tour. And this is the landing page you use and you see when opening the module. And there are 6 sections listed at the top: begin, engage, enrich, apply, review, resources. We're going to review them sequentially. However, the module is really designed so you can move to any section at any time so it can meet your specific needs. We recommend you complete them in order if you are new to using data to make decisions about program improvements. And begin is the landing page where the introductory video to Look, Think, Act is found. So let's watch the video now to give you an idea of what this is all about.
Welcome to this learning module on using data to improve your early intervention or early childhood special education program. In this module, you will learn about Look, Think, Act, a simple process for examining and acting on your data. Why should you use Look, Think, Act? Consider the time and resources it takes to collect and report required data. Does all this effort lead to making your program stronger, or are you not sure what to do with all that data? Are you or your colleagues committed to answering questions you have about your program, but not completely comfortable using data to act? Look, Think, Act can help. And best of all, you don't need to be a data expert to get started. Look, Think, Act is a process that helps people engage with data and then use data to make program improvements. It works best when teams of people with different perspectives look at data and together figure out what it means. But team members often have different levels of comfort with looking at data. Has anyone handed you papers with charts and tables and asked you to talk about program data and you greet them with a blank stare? Or have you gathered a group of people to review your program and everyone goes silent when you show the data? Look, Think, Act helps get everyone actively involved with the data by providing a structure to look at and reflect on data together. As with most worthwhile endeavors, preparation is a key to success. Preparation will help you and your team use Look, Think, Act efficiently and effectively. There are several ways to prepare. Identify the questions you hope the data will answer, assemble a diverse team, and prepare your data. Start with your question. What is it that you want to know about your program? What problem are you hoping to solve? Which data are going to help you answer the question? Next, consider the diverse perspectives needed to dig into your question. Family members, administrators, teachers, service providers, other colleagues who have a vested interest in your program, people from different racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds, and people with disabilities. Engaging diverse perspectives will help you see, understand, and act on data in meaningful and equitable ways. If you have someone who understands data and can explain the charts and graphs to others, add them to the team. If you do not have someone yet, then think about who in your community could help. With or without a data person, you are taking a great first step by assembling a diverse team. Preparing to look also requires creating something for your new team to look at related to your question. Create graphs, charts, diagrams, or other ways to show your data that people can understand easily. And it helps if you display your data in ways that are visually appealing and engaging. Now it's time to assemble your team and let the fun begin. Not surprisingly, the process begins with having your team members look at the data charts, graphs, and other displays and share what they see in the data. At the look stage, team members make factual statements about the data. They make comparisons, identify patterns, and point out data that doesn't fit any pattern. Although it can be tempting to begin to interpret or attach meaning to what the team sees in the data, it is critical to have a thorough look at the facts first. This helps team members put their own biases aside and let the facts speak before they begin making conclusions. During the think stage, the team interprets the data. They attach meaning to what they saw. They consider factors they believe may have influenced the data or caused the program to get the results shown in the data. What do the findings from the look stage mean for our work? What are some of the reasons that might have given us the results we see? Now is the time to draw conclusions from the data that will inform action. And finally, the act stage. Your team proposes actions based on the conclusions. Actions may be as simple as collect more data to better understand the problem, or as complex as a change in state or local policy. Look, Think, Act works best when you have a supportive environment for using data to make meaningful program improvements. Building or strengthening a program's culture of data use is one part of creating this environment. You grow a culture of data use when the people in your organization value data and regularly put that value into practice, using data to inform decisions. As people engage in Look, Think, Act, they build their understanding and confidence in using data and grow in their appreciation of the power of data to improve programs. This learning module will help you learn more about Look, Think, Act and how it can support your work. It also will provide resources for creating a supportive environment for using data, which includes your data infrastructure and other system components. Look, Think, Act can help you make the most of the data you're probably already collecting. This process can help you use those data to make program improvements that can lead to better outcomes for the children and families you serve. Start building a collaborative and supportive environment for using data by following the simple steps in this module. Are you ready to look, think, and act?
This video can be used with a variety of audiences to provide the basic information of the Look, Think, Act process for using data to improve your program. There are additional videos embedded throughout the module to help build understanding of each stage of Look, Think, Act. And let's continue our tour by looking at the rest of the Begin page. We have identified what users will be able to do upon completion of the module, as well as provided you a little information on what to expect. By the end of the module, you'll know how to use the Look, Think, Act process for using data to improve programs. You should be able to apply it to a variety of topics, types of data, evaluation and program questions, as well as apply Look, Think, Act at different levels of your early intervention and early childhood special education systems. Additionally, you will discover ways to build a supportive environment for using this process for program improvement and strengthening your data system component of your system infrastructure. And we hope that you see yourself in one of these three roles where you can learn more about what to expect when completing the module. And at the end of this page, let me scroll down. You will find how to use the module. It is designed to give you just a small amount or a little bit of information about a section and a way to navigate to any of those sections simply by clicking the Go To link at the end of each description. And you can also navigate, I'll scroll back up, navigate to any section using these titles at the top of the page. And the section links, these titles will remain on every page of the module for easy access as you move through things. And we're going to move to Engage. Engage is the second step or second in sequence. And this is where you find the information on each stage of the Look, Think, Act process. And I want to point out this graphic organizer. As you move through different topics within the Engage stage, it helps to remind you where you are at in the Look, Think, Act process. Scroll down. Before you look is an important step in the process that helps you get ready to effectively use Look, Think, and Act. And there are 4 steps in before you look. And each of these can be expanded to learn the details. I'm only going to expand this first one for the demonstration. Clarify your purpose, which asks, what questions are you trying to answer? It's important to know what questions you are trying to answer using data. Are you trying to understand the needs of the children and families that you serve? Do you want to know more about how policies and procedures are affecting service delivery? Or do you want to understand why some children are reaching desired outcomes and others are not? And before looking at data, determine what you are hoping to learn. Be clear about the specific populations, situations, or outcomes that concern you. In looking at child outcomes, for instance, is it important you look at outcomes by region or program, by race, ethnicity, or gender? What about socioeconomic status or type of disability, developmental delay, or eligibility category? Determining the specifics of what you hope to learn will help you identify the most relevant data that you need, determine how data should be analyzed, and communicate the purpose of your Look, Think, Act discussion to your team and participants. At the end of each step, there are resources available to support your learning in that area. So here in Clarify Your Purpose, you'll see critical questions about early intervention and early childhood special education. And you'll also see the data culture toolkit linked. And those will help you further clarify your purpose. Now, because we're talking about identifying questions to ask, I'm going to stop here and talk about equity for a moment, because the type of questions you ask and the data you look at to answer those questions is really critical to understanding any inequity in your program. So I am going to transition back to the slides. Let's think about pursuing equity through using the Look, Think, Act process. Here are a few reasons how Look, Think, Act helps address equity in your programs. Look, Think, Act supports understanding root causes of outcome disparities and has information and tools available to you in the learning module to support getting to root causes. Look, Think, Act supports evaluating disaggregated data, which is necessary to identify the inequities. It's important to note here that the need to understand the context of your data, because data are not meant to be interpreted in a vacuum. Keep in mind the context by asking yourselves these questions. Who collected the data? Whose lives are embodied in the data? Who is it serving? And who is harmed potentially? Asking these provides valuable information needed for your data discussion. A third reason Look, Think, Act helps address equity is that it supports including families and community members with lived experiences to be involved in the data processes, including as decision makers. And I want to emphasize that point I just made about including family and community in your data processes, because decisions are limited when perspectives are limited. What collaboration can look like in a culture of data use is directly involving your staff and stakeholders in many aspects of the using data for making changes. It allows you to learn not only those diverse perspectives, but it can also provide new insights to help you make sense of the findings from your data and create relevant actions to address change. And it allows you to make a more informed decision. You really want a powerful mix of stakeholders to help leverage change. And then I want to share this quote. Data leadership for equity requires us to ask the right questions. Reflective, probing questions help build the data story that identifies gaps in outcomes for children and explores adult capacity around equity. I'm going to share some specific reflective probing questions that will help you build your data story that identifies gaps in outcomes for children and families that you serve. There are 7 critical questions all programs could be asking to understand and address equity. I will cover these very quickly because they are available through the link in the title of this slide and a link on the handout posted with this presentation. The document is written for school districts. However, it is applicable to any program that serves children and families. The document includes more detail describing why each question is important. And knowing what your program's questions are and your purpose for asking them most likely will lead you to collecting data you may not have. Case in point is question number 1. It asks how families, children, students, teachers, and staff are thinking and feeling about equity and inclusion in your program. You might need to survey to find out that information or hold focus group discussions or both. Why is it important? Think about it. Children, students, teachers, service providers, and other staff are often an untapped source of information on equity. They are on the front lines of your daily program life. Their experiences and voices matter, and they influence your overall program climate. With their feedback, you can reflect on important areas such as sense of belonging in your program, diversity and integration, and awareness of issues of race, ethnicity, and culture. With educator and service provider feedback, you can reflect on important areas such as professional development needs around equity, readiness to address issues of diversity, and cultural awareness and action. Another question you might ask, or probably already are asking, is what differences in outcomes or achievements exist between groups of children served in your program? What differences exist in the social emotional development of different groups of children served? You'll want to ask about what groups of children are over or underrepresented in your disciplinary and behavioral data. Ask how might your attendance, chronic absenteeism, no-show rates differ by groups of children. Do you know your program enrollment by race and ethnicity? Do caring adults have an asset-based or strength-based system for supporting each and every child? As I previously stated, exploring the 7 critical questions document is important to see the why behind each of these 7 questions so that you can understand and address equity in your program. Asking these questions and gathering the data to find the answers will help you to be able to address equity. Now I'm going to transition back to the module. Okay, we are back on the begin page, and we are on the before you look, or we are on the engage page, excuse me, on before you look, where we are preparing for using Look, Think, Act. And as a reminder, clarifying your purpose includes knowing what questions you are trying to answer. And if you're addressing equity, this is where the 7 critical equity questions come in, and use those questions to guide your work. Preparation also includes identifying diverse participants, preparing your data for the meeting, and planning for holding the meeting or the discussion. Each section expands with the information and includes links to resources like you see in the Clarify Your Purpose. So now let's look at the stages of Look, Think, Act itself. I do that by scrolling down. The 3 stages of Look, Think, Act are found by navigating these tabs. By default, you land on the Look stage, and the graphic organizer helps you to know that's where you're at. And in this section, you find short text, discussion questions you can ask your team, a short video, and examples and resources specific to the Look stage. Each stage of Look, Think, Act has these same features: text, video, discussion questions, examples, and resources. And we do not have time to watch all the videos today, so you'll have some exploring to do after the session. I'm going to scroll back up to the tabs. One key phrase to describe the Look stage is just the facts, please. And you saw that in the introductory video. This is where you take time to reveal the facts in your data without jumping to conclusions. You are objectively examining data as the first step in answering an important question or solving a problem. Factual statements create a picture and begin to tell your story. Do lines on a chart move up or down over time? Are some bars on the chart tall while others are short? Does region A have more providers trained than region B? And the answers or factual statements to these types of questions are not debatable. So let's take a quick look at Think. Think is laid out the same as Look. You'll find text, video specific to this stage, discussion questions, examples, and resources. The Think stage is where your team works to interpret or attach meaning to the data that you saw back in the Look stage. You use those facts from the data stage and any other evidence that you have and consider why you are getting the results that you see. As stated in the equity information, having a diverse team will provide different people having different perspectives or interpretations based on their unique experiences. This will broaden your discussion about your results. I'm going to scroll back up to Act. The Act stage is the same layout again: text, video, discussion, questions, examples, and resources. But let's take time to watch the Act video so you can get the overview of this stage.
Act is the 3rd stage of the Look, Think, Act process. You looked carefully at your data, you thought about and discussed what the data mean. Now it's time to act, to use the conclusions drawn from the data to make decisions about how to improve your program. At this stage, you are asking, based on the data, what actions do we need to take to improve our program? Your actions may be about making changes to how services are provided or how families interact with your program, or about your program's policies and procedures, or about the training and professional development provided to staff. Or you may identify the steps to improving the quality of your data or helping people become more comfortable using data so they actively participate in improvement discussions. Actions may be small and immediate, like making a minor procedural change, or they may be large, long-term improvements, such as adopting a new program or changing how your state supports practitioners' skills and abilities to provide high-quality services for families. Or you might decide that no changes are needed at this time and you celebrate success. Your actions might include collecting additional data to better understand your issue or your context. When this happens, you will use the look, think, act process again when the additional data are available. Look at the facts, think about the meaning, and draw conclusions and create actions based on the new information. The look, think, act process helps you continually assess how you are doing by using data for program improvement. Actions are more likely to be completed when they are documented, have a responsible person assigned, timelines identified, and benchmarks for progress established. Get ready to repeat Look, Think, Act. Look, Think, Act is continual. An active, engaged team is always asking new questions and using data to develop program changes.
The act stage helps you avoid getting stuck in admiring a problem to actually doing something about it. And now I'm going to take you to the Tools tab. And what this is, as it follows Look, Think, Act, are tools that have been made specific for the Look, Think, Act process. You'll find a preparation checklist, facilitator and discussion guides, and a template to document your discussions and decisions that you've made. I'm going to scroll back to the top. We have 4 additional sections to introduce you to. So let's look at Enrich. Surrounding the Look, Think, Act process is a supportive environment for using data for program improvement, which is built over time. This isn't something that happens all at once. There are 4 critical pieces of a supportive environment shared in this module. I'm going to scroll down to these tabs. This section provides you with the ways to go about building your supportive environment, building a culture of data use, building a strong early intervention and early childhood special education data infrastructure, addressing interconnected system components, and using intentional implementation. Each of these sections provides text and resources specific to that section. And then back to the top. Apply is where you get to practice using the information that you have learned. There are 3 sets of practice exercises focused on critical questions that early intervention and early childhood special education programs may have. The first scenario, evidence-based practice, the question is, are practitioners implementing evidence-based practices as intended? Second scenario in question is, what are the characteristics of children served in your program? And then third is child outcomes. What are the outcomes for children participating in our program? And in each of these sections, scroll down, you will have a data chart. And each of them is displayed in a different way. And then following the data displays are questions to be answered. Answers are revealed as you complete each question, and you have the ability to email yourself those questions and answers when you get to the end of the quiz. I'm going to go back up to the top and look at review. Review provides short reminders of the content on flip cards. By clicking a card, brief key points are revealed, just as a reminder of what you've reviewed. Scrolling back up to resources. First, you find the look, think at specific tools that you saw on that tools tab on the Engage page. And then it's followed by resources, which are the items that are linked throughout the module, and they're all available here as well. And you're able to sort these general displays linked to the resources that are more sort of global in nature and cover multiple stages of Look, Think, Act. And the others are resources you found in each of those sections as you moved through the learning module. And you just click on the different tiles to get to those resources. With the exception of the Look, Think, Act tools, these all are resources that have been developed over time by the OSEP-funded TA centers. And there is a lot to explore here. And it's time to wrap up, so I'm going to return to the slides and remind you where you can find the Look, Think, Act module. You can go to the DaSy website that you see at the top of this slide and use the search feature over top right of the page and type in Look, Think, Act to locate the learning module, as well as other Look, Think, Act resources and presentations that are available. Please note the DaSy Center technical assistance providers are available to support you through using the module and also to use the Look, Think, Act process with your team and stakeholders. And contact emails can be found on the title slide, or you can use the link at the bottom of this slide to find out who your state liaison is and how to contact them, because every state has a DaSy liaison assigned to them. And that concludes our session on Look, Think, Act, Unlocking the Power of Data to Address Equity. A copy of the slides and handout are available through the conference website. Thank you very much for spending time with us.